Welcome to the Mere Nonsense Podcast. That's how we're opening. I'm Brad.
I'm Z.
And Mr. Not Talking is Billy. He fucked up his mic literally the day we were going to start recording.
Oh, good old Billy. He is the
I didn't fuck it
definition
up.
of
It fucked itself up. Fuck you.
he is the definition of old reliable.
Oh, reliable.
Oh, unreliable.
So, how exactly did this happen, Billy? Tell us how you managed to screw up your mic when all you have is turn it on and turn it off.
That's definitely not that easy. I don't know. It's probably something when I reinstalled it on the PC. Something got fucked, so I gotta install it again, probably.
Yeah, that might be it.
So I went out of my way and I bought a $10,000 mic, to make the podcast a little bit better. And Billy goes out of his way to fuck his own audio
Break his
up.
mic.
Yep.
Remember, Brad, whatever you do, I do the exact opposite of.
Oh yeah.
I'm aware.
He's actually losing money from this. So we were talking the other day about E3. It's coming up soon. I think the 12th of June it's gonna start.
That sounds about right.
We were definitely bringing up a video game or two that we're most likely expecting or want to see more of. And I think we can all agree that Elden Ring is probably the most hype for us. Just because of how much or how little we know about it. We just want to know something.
I'm just excited because one, I really love the Dark Souls games. It's my favorite series of all time. Mechanics, the deep lore that you actually have to like kind of dig to figure out. It's not told to you up front. And the difficulty, is really fun. But also I enjoy the writing of George R. R. Martin, so we'll see how they combine that. So that to me is my most hyped game coming up, hopefully in the next few years.
Definitely.
I don't even think they're gonna fucking. They might mention it or tease it again, but I doubt we're gonna get a date at this E3.
Yeah, right now there's really, for me at least, there's really nothing specific I'm looking forward to. I've always liked E3. I've always just liked watching the new announcements, the new trailers, whether they give us gameplay or not. I don't know. I'm just a fan of E3. I've been watching it since I was like, I don't know, 12. No, probably like 14, 15 years old.
Yeah,
Been like 10 years.
I used to watch the G4 coverage of it back in the day.
Oh yeah, those were the times.
Now I
Good old
wonder.
G4.
I haven't seen anything, but I wonder if they're going to do any coverage for it this year. Obviously, they're just now coming back and making ground again. But
Well, I wouldn't doubt it because aren't they just YouTube right now? So they could
Yeah.
probably go live like they normally do.
I don't think that they're going to be a TV channel again. I think they're only going to be internet. I think they'll do Twitch
Right.
streams or YouTube streams or whoever they sign with.
Which is
Yes.
definitely a good way to come back so they don't have to worry about whatever it is behind the scenes they need to worry about to keep a TV channel alive.
And especially during like COVID times, they can just do everything from home too. They don't have to worry about getting a whole studio and getting everyone together for it.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, look at the different groups of people now. Like they even have what's his name, Austin Creed.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He's Xavier Woods from
Xavier
WWE.
Woods. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is his name Austin Creed?
Yeah, I believe it is because they call him Xavier Woods in WWE.
But Austin Creed is his name or whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
What are you excited about, Billy? Upcoming for E3, if anything.
I don't really pay attention much to E3, so I don't think I'm really excited for much, if anything, coming from it. Maybe some new, reveals for any new video games, but
Well, that's what
outside of
E3.
that,
That's
not
what
too
E3
much.
is. You're looking for new IPs
Right.
in general.
That's
Billy,
probably
Yeah, just-
it. I mean,
Just
go ahead, Billy.
Honestly, just something that's like new and exciting. Maybe some gameplay from Back for Blood.
Yeah.
When's the last time a game actually made you feel super excited for it to like come out? Like you were constantly following it like all the time.
Well, I know Days Gone. I did something like that. Escape from Tarkov. But those games are a lot older. I don't think there's really any game lately that I've seen a trailer and I've been like, oh my god, I need to get this game or I want to get this game.
Right. I hear you on that. For me, it's normally been probably the next shooter for Ubisoft. Like, I mean, I know they're really bad at like optimizing their games and stuff, but you gotta admit they come out with some pretty interesting things, whether it's grounded stuff or not.
I'm hyped for whatever they're renaming Rainbow Six Quarantine as, because I think
Yeah,
it's a co-op shooter, right? That's what they're dubbing it.
yeah, it is. Mm-hmm.
So I'm
It's
excited for that.
Man, especially with that little tease that they gave us when Operation Chimera came around and you were doing sort of a horde mode type of thing.
Yeah,
There was a tank there. You were able to execute it. It was just overall really cool, and turning that into a full game, definitely something I can't wait for.
it'll be fun. I I don't care too much about Siege right now, but if they implement the same mechanics into that kind of game, I'll more than likely enjoy it.
Right.
And even though Ubi is kind of, I don't know, they fuck up a lot of things, but I also think they do other things really well. I think whatever they're gonna do, they've had a lot of time to do this. I think it's gonna be pretty good.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I mean, another thing too, like sidetracking from Ubisoft, is the next Bethesda game. I mean, they showed us the most teaser of teaser trailers for the next Elder Scrolls game, and we haven't seen anything since, I believe.
And that's was 3 years ago. No, a little bit.
Probably, I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, it was. So the last thing they did, I think it was 2018 or 2019. I think it was 2018 because I was still living back in my hometown with my parents. So I've been at my new place for about 3 years. So it's been that
Yeah,
long.
it's definitely 2018 then.
Yeah. Um,
Dude,
I'm excited for that.
nothing since.
I'm excited for that. I love the Elder Scrolls games. I've told Zuriel this multiple times. I have never actually beaten Skyrim, like the main story, but I probably have like 500 hours in the game just from dungeon diving and doing all the random side quests because I like the world that it builds. The story is okay to me. It's pretty like cut and dry. There's a dragon, kill the dragon. You know,
Right.
that's it.
It's just the lore behind that world and universe per se. Like
Yeah,
that's the attention grabber right there. I mean, I'm right there with you. Like I've played Morrowind before. I never beat it because I
yeah,
was too young to even comprehend a video game of that size.
right.
And
Maps are
then
huge.
Oblivion came out, and I've only ever seen people play it, but it always looked cool, especially at that time when it came out. That was for like the 360. Man, those graphics were awesome. The gameplay was awesome. It was just something unique and cool. But when Skyrim came around, I mean, come on, everyone knows about Skyrim. And like definitely for me too, I've put in about 40 hours worth on the PC and then probably like twice that amount on the PS3.
Yeah. How much time did you put on for your smart fridge and your Amazon or your Alexa and everything else they're trying to put that fucking game on?
Right.
They're gonna port
I
it.
would
They're gonna
they're
port it to everything. You can play it in your fucking car eventually.
that's the thing that threw me off. Tesla decided to choose Witcher 3 over throwing in another Skyrim port. So like, props to Tesla for that cuz Witcher 3 is awesome. It's no joke, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's hilarious that like anything new with that can handle a video game, they'll put Skyrim into it. I just can't believe that.
Do you remember that Key and Peele skit?
No.
So it was again around the time where they announced some port for it. I don't know if it was coming to like Switch or whatever, but there was a new port for it, and the skit was, or I think it was, it wasn't. I don't think it was Key and Peele. I think it was just, I think it was Keegan by himself.
Okay.
But they said that it was coming to Alexa, and the whole bit was like, Alexa, how many wheels of cheese do I have? You have 428. I eat them all. I eat them all of them. Eat all of them. And just it's very funny. I'd recommend you go watch it. I think it was a Super Bowl commercial like 3 or 4 years ago, maybe a little bit longer than that. I
Damn.
don't know. Yeah, it was funny as hell.
Yeah, I'll definitely get around to that eventually. I was never really big on their stuff.
I love Key and
I,
Peele.
I can't remember the one time I actually sat down and watched the full episode of theirs, but I've seen clips.
Oh, and for me, it's the YouTube clips. You know, I mean, it used to be on Comedy Central, and I throw it on every now and then.
Right.
But that was also the time where like Tosh.0 was kind of like fading out, and that was the new thing. So kind of liked it. But now, what, 7 years later, it's better to just watch the YouTube clips.
Yeah, I would agree on that because I mean, for the most part, people or the audience community, they're just going from TV to internet-based streaming services. So it's just like, I'd rather watch 3 hours of YouTube than watch 3 hours of TV. It's come to that point pretty much.
Right. So while on Bethesda, I don't think this will happen, but this is kind of like my few games that I would really like to see come out of from an E3 press conference. Again, I don't think these are going to be announced, but I would love to see like a Fallout New Vegas remastered or Fallout 3 remastered. Those games are very enjoyable. I think I'd like to see New Vegas more than 3 because the ports to PC are fucking trash. You can't like. I remember when I first tried it. Every time I would try to load it, it would crash my PC. And I was looking
Wow.
through, the reviews and everything, and that's just how the port is. So
Right.
then I was like, okay, I have an Xbox Series S at this point, but I was like, I kind of want to play this game. Let me go back and play it on the 360. And 360 it works, but it's also a glitchy, laggy game, Um, so I'd like to see at least I don't know, a remaster would be super, like that'd be the best thing. But maybe an upgraded port for new gen. I doubt that I'll ever do that, but I at least want to see that.
See, I don't think I ever really got into those Fallout games. I knew of them, but I just never really got into them.
They're so fun.
Yeah, I've I've known a lot about these Bethesda games. Like, I mean, there's Prey, there's Dishonored, Fallout,
I have Prey, but I've
Elder
never played it.
Scrolls. I've just never played most of them.
Yeah.
But I mean, it would be really cool because there's just such a crazy hardcore following behind Fallout, and that I know for sure.
Right. Yeah, Fallout. I mean, so the thing with Fallout is they've created such a crazy world with everything. Um, much like, so you played Skyrim. You know how in Skyrim they have all of those books that you could read and like read up on like the lore of the world and all that, like
Mhm.
in game.
Yep.
The equivalents to that in Fallout are you find terminals, so computers playing around, and
Right.
you can either access them normally or you can hack into them. Normally, you get into them because it gives you like information for like there's a unique gun somewhere or you have to unlock a door somewhere, but it also gives you background on the locations you're at. So
Okay.
Fallout is fucked up. So essentially, premise of Fallout, as you guys know, is world got super advanced, nukes dropped. They created these Fallout shelters, and each game follows like a different person or a couple people, whatever. So the thing about the Fallout or the shelters is they've had like a secondary reason to exist. So they protected people from the nukes, but I believe it's almost all of them. I think there's a couple normal ones, but literally like 99% of them have experiments going on. So one of the vaults, um, they allowed 99 women and one man in. And then another vault, they had 99 men and one woman. Stuff like that. They had another vault where it was just one person in general. The story of Fallout 4, they cryo froze everybody, and I think it was just, what are the effects of um, long term cryo sleep and stuff like that. But there's some really dark ones of so when you go to the vault with the one guy, you can see his notes about him like fucking going crazy, and I think he ends up killing himself eventually. And then I think there was one where they pitted like two races or something against each other, and they ended up all just clashing and killing each other. There's all of these deep stories behind it, and it's so interesting to read up on. Whereas with Skyrim, there's some like deep lore, but like it's not as fun and interesting to me. But Fallout is absolutely insane with those.
See, with all that lore, like I know I'd be one to want, like especially recently with any game now that has any type of lore, I will take my time to read it all. But I, when you tell me that there's just like so much lore behind like each of those Bethesda games, I'm like, honestly, I just can't touch it for that reason because
It's a
I'm
lot.
just gonna be so burnt out of reading all that lore. But another old-ish studio that we know about, Turtle Rock Studios, the guys that brought us Left 4 Dead, probably a very underrated game, Evolved. Like
I
that
love
game was
Evolved.
such a cool idea. And now they're coming out with Back for Blood, which Billy and I talked about earlier. I mean,
We talked about
that's
briefly last week too.
yeah, that's honestly gonna be a fan favorite. I mean, it just looks really good already, just from the gameplay that they showed.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that. I mean, everyone's been waiting for a Left 4 Dead 3. This might not be it, but it's definitely a spiritual successor to it. So I am super excited for that.
Billy, why the fuck are you on Conqueror's Blade?
I'm actually downloading it.
Oh.
I had to launch the launcher to download the game.
Okay, yeah. Real quick on what you're saying about the getting burnt out thing, Z. YouTube videos. Like, if there's probably like a couple 30 minutes to maybe hour YouTube videos on like lore for each of those games, and
Yeah.
that's the easiest way to learn about it. To me, when I'm playing the game, I'm just going through and getting good loot and killing people. But
Right.
so on the Back for Blood thing, so again, I'm excited for that. I don't think we're ever going to see an actual Left 4 Dead 3 ever because Valve can't count past 2.
This is true.
But I don't know. Like, I think it'll be fun. I just don't know. Like, people are saying it's not going to be a full-fledged game. Because to me, so right now, if you were to release Resident Evil, or not Resident Evil, Left 4 Dead 1, that wouldn't be a $60 game right now. Like, or at least it
Right.
shouldn't be. Those games are a little too small for this generation of games. I'm excited to see where it goes though. I 100% believe we'll see gameplay at E3.
Right.
I
Another
just
thing I'm sorry to cut you off. Another thing on that though was I just found out that one of the publishers or the publisher for Back for Blood is Warner Bros.
right.
And I mean, they're slowly coming out with some like crazy different types of games. I mean, for a while they were publishing the Mortal Kombat games, they were publishing the Hitman games, they were publishing the Batman games,
Yeah.
and now there's like two more that are coming up. So I mean, yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off on that, but yeah,
Oh no, it's fine.
something interesting I just found out about.
Um,
Yeah, you were talking
There-
about these.
yeah. I'm trying to think. So with Warner Bros, I'm looking right now. So they've done the Injustice games. I like all those. They've done some of the Lego games. They're doing the the Harry Potter mobile game that's supposed to be like Pokemon Go.
Oh, I remember seeing that.
Yeah, that's funny.
Oh man,
Oh,
that is so
they've done
goofy.
Shadow of Mordor.
Yeah, yeah, those two games.
I like
Those are the ones
those.
I definitely left out. Yep.
Yeah,
And then the Gotham Knights game and the Suicide Squad game coming out.
yeah.
Those are gonna. Mm.
So
I love what Rocksteady did with the Arkham series, and can't wait to see what they do with Suicide Squad. But WB Montreal is the devs for Gotham Knights.
mhm.
And those are the same guys that worked on Arkham Origins, which, in my opinion, very underrated game. There was a lot of hate for it, but they did something really cool to it that not a lot of games do, which is have awesome boss fights.
Yeah. Wait, for the Arkham games?
Arkham Origins.
Okay. I didn't
So
play Origins.
they did Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, that was Rocksteady, and then after that, Arkham Origins came out, and that was WB Montreal. So it
Okay.
wasn't Rocksteady that was making that one. And like I said, there was some flack to it, but it was definitely one of the more underrated Arkham games.
Okay. Yeah, so I only played I played a little bit of Arkham Asylum like way back in the day, but within the last year I played and beat Arkham City, which I enjoyed it. I thought the boss fights in that were stupid. That final boss fight with like the clay guy, whatever his name is.
Clayface?
Clayface.
Yeah, I didn't really like that. I think the only one I actually kind of enjoyed was the one with I think it was Mr. Freeze.
Oh yeah, everyone
Mr.
loves that
Freeze one
one.
was nice.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the more unique boss fights there, because for the most part, those boss fights were like hit this, do this, hit this, do this.
React to them throwing something at you, or
Yeah, but Mr. Freeze was the only one to remember your style, so you
Yeah.
had to change it up a little bit.
and there was like I think there was like 4 or 5 or something, or like 3 objectives you had to do within that. Like you had to hide in this pipe, and then you had to break this thing, and then you had to do a couple other things, and he adapted to whatever you did in that order. So you kind of
Right.
had to, a small chess game with that, and it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you hurt him one way, you couldn't do that ever again,
Right.
which was cool. Um,
Billy, did you ever play the God of War games?
I played the first God of War game. My uncle was really into it, so I did watch a lot of gameplay, but I haven't played them really since God of War 2. And I only
Gotcha.
played a
Oh,
little bit of that.
Gotcha. All right. So I know Brad got really into that, but he also brought up the fact that they postponed that game until next year.
2022.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah, so the rumors were that it was coming out probably like end of this year, but they just announced before this, gaming season that they're pushing it to 2022, which I'm fine with. I am always okay with people pushing back games because we don't want another Cyberpunk issue.
Now I know, Billy, you have got to be excited for the next Horizon game, because I saw your stats on my PlayStation friends, and you 100% in that game.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, the second one's already come out, though, hasn't it?
No.
I thought it was until the
No.
20th, if I remember correctly.
It's,
I couldn't
Horizon
remember. Shows how
West.
much I've fallen off of it. I was super excited for it, and I was like, oh my god, like I'm gonna, I'm gonna go ahead and get the game for the PC, play through it again just for fun. But then I kind of just,
Yeah, I tried playing it on the PC, but it just kept crashing on me. I got 10 hours into the game, and then for some reason it just kept crashing on me, but luckily PlayStation Plus had it for free at the time, so I've just been restarting it on the PS5.
For
Wow.
Yeah,
Forbidden
it's definitely
West.
a fun game.
Sorry, Forbidden West does not have a release date.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
No, so
What
they
were you
announced.
thinking it was coming out this month?
No, they said something like the PS not direct. What state of play or something?
State of play,
I think
yes.
they mentioned like some state of play thing, but they have not said anything about Forbidden West in the release. People are
Right,
speculating that that's also going to get pushed back.
right. I mean, hey man, Horizon Zero Dawn was an awesome game from what I've played, so
Yeah,
if they need a little more time to make it better, why not? It's a fun game.
I'm actually in the middle
Um,
of it right now. I only probably have like 5 hours into it, but I'm enjoying it so far.
yeah,
It
so,
is easily one of my favorite games to play,
Yeah,
or was at least.
right.
it's interesting. The gameplay style is pretty interesting, and like you kind of have to be stealthy, or you can just go and try to fight all the machines whenever you want. But um, you can have a mix of the two, and I always enjoy that.
So I can't believe I sort of like brushed this off because it just hit me. Like I forgot about it up until now. Was going back to Ubisoft, and yesterday, Brad and I were talking about the next Star Wars game and the fact that their licensing became, in a way, public, I guess. But Ubisoft announced a while back that the developers Massive, which are the guys behind the Division series, are creating an open world Star Wars game.
Yeah,
Really?
And that was the
yeah.
announcement a while ago, which, I mean, I'm a fan of the Division games. It's such a cool style to a grounded game, grounded shooter game. I mean, there's a lot of problems with it, but it was really cool for what they did with it, and I'm actually super excited for what they're gonna do with that Star Wars game.
So what you're referring to, this says Lucasfilm will end its Star Wars exclusivity deal with EA by partnering with Ubisoft on a new open world game. So up until that, which I don't know if that's been released. I don't know if that contract's been released yet, but it's supposed to sometime this year, I believe. Um, EA had, I think, so it says exclusivity. It's a hard word. uh, so they've had the rights essentially to all of the games, uh, future work, but um, they're the ones who did Jedi Fallen Order, right?
Yes,
So that makes me a little sad. I hope that they can take
but
whatever.
at the same time, you know exactly how bad they've gotten with it.
Yeah,
Which, in hindsight, it's always nice to see something ending on a good note.
that's true.
So even
It was
though
a good game.
EA definitely made Battlefront pretty bad. Like,
What sucks though, and I haven't touched Battlefront since the first month it came out, but Battlefront 2 specifically. Apparently that game's fantastic now. Like they've added a lot of things for free. They've updated enough. The issue at the very beginning, so EA has a fucking issue with loot
pay
crates.
to win in a sense.
Yeah, pay to win, loot crates, stuff like that. You've seen that with like the past Battlefield games. So when Battlefront 2 first came out, they were like, "Oh, no loot crates at all. It's we're not going to include them all." Um, but they were still pay to win, and one of the issues was I think it was Darth Vader was like a playable character. They they took in the information of like how much XP you get, and they calculated how much time it would take to be able to play as Darth Vader, and it was something fucking ridiculous, like several hundreds of hours to just be able to
Right. Yeah,
unlock Darth
it
Vader.
was an insane grind just to get to him. I remember that specifically, right?
Yeah. So they dropped the ball on that, but apparently they brought it back. But it's way too late, for the bulk of people to really get into it again. I might touch it
Well,
again because I think it's either free or really cheap on PS5. So I might try again with that.
right.
Um,
But I mean, like I said though, I mean, they had their long run with them, but
yeah.
it's good that they ended it on a good note because I mean, people really enjoyed that last Star Wars game.
What would you guys want to see out of an open world Star Wars game?
Honestly, especially with how powerful these gaming rigs are. I mean, a little sidetrack on this. That new Ratchet and Clank game
Yeah.
that's going to come out, they can they can open portals between worlds and seamlessly transition into them without like a loading time or anything like that.
Yeah.
And they've showed that in the gameplay, and it looks fucking awesome. So what I would love to see is something simple aside from like whatever it is that they're going to do with their open world. I would love to see the ability, for example, a Millennium Falcon to go from space into wherever it is that they're going to land seamlessly without having like some sort of loading screen, because that would be just super cool. I mean, whatever mission you're done with at that world, you're just like, cool, let's just jump on our ship and then just like fly. You get to go through these clouds or whatever. You get to see the rest of that world before you leave it, and then you're in outer space. And you might end up running into some, I don't know, like pirates or whatever. Which
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty big in my eyes, and I would understand if they wouldn't be able to do it, but I would just love to see something like that.
So Fallen Order actually had something similar to that. So essentially, you have to go to um, the pilot room, whatever, the cockpit. You'd have to go to the cockpit, talk to the guy, select where you want to go, and then you had to manually click to sit down. And it would show you lift up off the planet. It would show you go into space. It would show you hit hyperspace. It would show you above the planet, and it would show you landing. The only thing different from what you're saying is this wasn't like it. You were in hyperspace for a longer time, which means that the game is loading. So what you would want to see, I'm assuming, is that hyperspace is like almost instant. And
Right.
then
Even without hyperspace though, like let's say you don't want to do it, but you know there's a world over, and you just, I don't know, maybe a 2 minute flight between world to world, but there's a chance that you can run into like a pirate or something, you know? So
right,
like you literally just
bounty
finished
hunters.
this big mission in this world, and then you go to the next one, but in the process of going to the next one you run into pirates, bounty hunters, whatever. Just something like that.
Do you think
Because every
the core gameplay would be you're a bounty hunter, or do you think you would be a Jedi, or do you think you'd be able to choose?
I think with how Ubisoft is, they all right. They get a lot of flack, which I mean, understandable because of how bad a lot of their games start. But what they're really good at is creating a huge world.
Right.
So, I mean, I would love to see just what they do with that, because they're good at making the open world. They're good at throwing in, you create this character the way you want, and then you go through the story the way you want. You don't necessarily need to be tied down to this or this. You could do them both or just one, you know?
I think that'd be ideal, but I don't think that's what they do. I think they'd stick to one or the other.
Right. But a guy can dream.
Yeah, I know. I would be okay with either too. Like I like bounty hunters. Give me some simple background, or even make me like a fucking Jango Fett clone that used to be in the Clone Wars or some shit. And now you're a bounty hunter or some shit. I don't care. Like,
Right.
I mean, it's not exactly impossible to do that, though.
Yeah.
Start
It's not.
between bounty hunters and Jedi. Like,
My-
Cyberpunk somewhat did something like that.
Right.
kind of.
Right.
But the thing with Cyberpunk is your stories eventually, like you had like
I mean, the storylines are pretty much the same, but
Yeah.
the difference comes in where you're talking to people and you have different options available because of your background or whatever.
yeah. So
I mean, they would have to put some extra thought into it if they wanted to do like different with bounty hunters and Jedi, where you're doing different stuff. But
right, because
That's true. Like interacting with someone as a Jedi, you would have an option. Like remember in episode 1 when they were gambling. I forgot. It was like right before the race. They were gambling on something that had to do with Anakin and his mom,
Yeah.
and then
Qui-Gon-
Qui-Gon just
Qui-Gon-
like used.
Qui-Gon wanted both, but Watto was only willing to give up one of them. So it was
Right.
basically an evens or odds. You get Annie, or you get the mom, or you get both, or whatever the
Right, but
hell.
what he did with his little force push on the die,
Yeah.
you could, like, for example, you could have that specific choice if you were a Jedi, whereas if you were a bounty hunter, you wouldn't have that choice at all.
So in a Fallout game type game, that would be set to a stat, and you would have a percentage of whether like you fail or succeed that chance. So
Right.
if you put all your points into luck, then you'd be able to do that, or maybe even stealth. You know, because with Watto was he was very perceptive that he was a Jedi, and the Jedi mind tricks didn't work on him. Um, so like with Watto, like the fact that he didn't notice that Qui-Gon moved it,
Hmm.
um, in a Fallout game like that, that'd have to be luck based.
Right.
So I
Which
mean, I hope
is
they do something like that.
right, which is another thing. It's a possibility you could just be a little bit of both, where you could be a bounty hunter, but you could also be a force wielder in some sort of way. It would just depend on your skill points.
Yeah,
It wouldn't be the first time they did something like that, though, right?
yeah.
Where there's some kind of bounty hunter that also wields force powers.
The only thing that I think they'd have to struggle with is you can't fuck with the story too much. Disney's gonna have their iron hammer on that, and they're gonna be like, we have our core, movies, our canon. If you stray way too far off from that, people are gonna think that's canon, and you know, so there's gonna be some battles between them with what they can and can't put into a game. So
Okay. Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see the outcome. I am a giant fucking Star Wars fan, so I'll probably get whatever they put out anyways.
Now, being another giant fan about something, I remember you brought this up to me, and I didn't know until you brought it up to me, was the next 007 game
Yeah.
being created by the guys that were behind Hitman, right?
Yep. Uh huh.
Now
I'm
that would
super
be
hyped for
super
that.
cool.
I would enjoy that a lot. So I guess this actually kind of goes back to what I was saying, where with Horizon, how I like the ability to stealth or the ability to just go and fuck people up. Another game that does that really well is Wolfenstein. You can either sneak around, level up that skill, and take people out without alerting the big crowd, or you can go and fuck them up. That's kind of what I want out of a James Bond Hitman type game. I want the option to do either.
Which
And actually,
they're fairly good at it. So it
I need to
yeah, I was
play.
gonna say, and actually like have it affect the storyline instead of you can do this, but really it
Right.
doesn't make any
Oh,
change
right.
on the mission at all.
Right.
Yeah. Another game like that is Dishonored. So you have the option of stealth, or you have the option to go all out. The issue with going all out is you get two endings. You get the bad ending and the good ending. The bad ending happens when you kill too many people. You can either knock them out or you can kill them. And if you kill too many people, you get the bad ending. So if you are more so able to knock more people out when you're being stealthy, whereas if you're just straight up fighting hordes and hordes of people, you're probably gonna have to kill them. And the story changes depending on that. And I actually really like the idea of that.
Definitely. Yeah, that having those choices per se, and then having a completely different outcome than you thought.
Right.
That's always something that's nice to have.
Yeah. And that studio specifically, I think they can do it. I have not played any of the recent Hitman games, but I've heard excellent things about all of them. So if anyone were to revitalize the 007 games, I think it would be them.
Yeah,
And
I could agree with that.
I'm 007 GoldenEye for the N64 is my favorite game of all time. So I also played oh god, it was like there was Nightfire, there was I don't know, there was like three other games that came out on the GameCube that I absolutely adored.
Right.
So I have high hopes for that. And I hope they take their time with it too. They just announced it earlier this year. I hope that doesn't come out till like 2023. Give them some time to make this a big ass game, you know?
Which is really what you could say for just about any game, honestly.
Yeah.
Like as nice as it is to have a deadline, you gotta understand, man, especially at a scale of that Star Wars game or the Elder Scrolls game or Elden Ring or 007. Like you gotta be able to be, okay with deadlines not being met as long as the game comes out the way it should.
Well, so I don't think it's the people as much as it is the shareholders. So one of the big issues with Cyberpunk and CD Projekt Red and you know numerous other games is most of us are okay with the game being pushed back because we're like, it's fine. I would like the game to be complete. There's some assholes out there that'll bitch about it, but it's the shareholders who are like, we need to make sure that this game comes out. Like, you need to put this games out. We need money, and that is the real issue there. It's more so the top guys than it is anything else, and it's unfortunate that you know people like CD Projekt have to crunch and you know die doing all their fucking work
Which is
just to
crazy
have a
thing
game
too,
come out.
because they should be able to see instantly how much love there is for CD Projekt. Before Cyberpunk came out, there was so much love to that company. There was so much love to them because of how well they did with The Witcher 3. It didn't come out perfect, but they did what they can to fix the bugs.
Right.
They did what they can to give back to their player base. If I remember correctly, if you pre-order the game, you would get like free DLC with it,
Yeah.
something like that. But it was just like there was so much love behind them. It's like, we trust you guys. We know exactly what it is that you want to do or need to do. So we trust you guys. If you guys say it needs to be pushed back another year or two, screw it. I mean, you guys already took like what, 7 years or so to like make the game.
Yeah.
That's another couple of years, man. As long as it's a great game and the game that you guys wanted to do. But like you said, the shareholders and stuff, which is a problem. And like I said, they should be able to see that. They should be able to see that love that the player base had for CD Projekt Red before that game came out. But they were just too impatient. And whoever it was too impatient that forced that game out at the time that it did come out. I mean, look at it now. No one really cares.
Right. That the game's already not being talked about, however, so many months later,
Yeah,
and it's
not even a
unfortunate.
full year.
I don't even know if it's back on the PlayStation Store yet to be able to buy.
No,
So,
no, it's not.
I mean, once they do that, once they get the next gen ports, a lot more people are going to be able to play it, and it'll probably come out that it was actually a good game and blah 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 blah. But I'm not personally touching it until I get my next gen port.
But even their updates, though, like even their updates aren't really helping as much as they want.
Well, they were
There's-
also set back because of those hackers.
Yeah,
Did you guys hear
it's
about
just
that?
yeah, it's just not been a good year for them.
Yeah, no, it's been brutal. Like, they're the hackers targeted, the information of CD Projekt Red, but also the individuals, and they're trying to keep their employees safe, and it's tough to do. People are out there; they're fucking crazy, and it just set everything back by even longer. I think they'd have a next gen port within the next few months if that didn't happen, but
Possibility, yeah.
who knows?
Right.
Um,
We've talked a lot about all these different games, but we definitely haven't talked about Nintendo. Now, I haven't necessarily been that big behind Nintendo. I do have a Switch. I've played a couple of their games. I've just never really kept up with them, though.
Yeah. So I was watching, or I was on Twitter the other day, and so recently they announced the remakes for Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, and a lot of people are excited for that. I never played Diamond and Pearl, so I don't care too much. I might still get them just to fuck around with them. But a guy who I know closely follows those games tweeted something, and he's like, this was a trip from start to end. So I'm like, okay, I'll watch this video, and it opens up. It's in all Japanese, so I don't know what it says. I don't know anything. And it opens up. It looks like they look like Pokemon. They look like new Pokemon. So I'm like, oh, is this a new Pokemon game? And then it shows someone riding like a flying Pokemon or a flying looks like a Pokemon, like I said, but he has a fucking machine gun and he starts shooting at the other animals. I'm like, that is not Pokemon. What the fuck is this? And again, it's in all Japanese, so I still don't know what the fuck it was. But I'm like, oh shit, he killed Charizard.
Could you just imagine if like Nintendo's doing their huge press conference at E3 and they're like, here's the next Pokemon game, and someone accidentally puts that on?
Could you imagine if they
Oh.
just came out with a Pokemon that so they've gotten really lazy with the designs. There's a Pokemon that's literally an ice cream cone. What if they made one that's literally just a gun? Like a gun with just legs and arms,
Oh my god.
Call it
Dude,
the American Mon.
Oh man. Oh man, it's like they want people to hate them.
Uh-huh.
There'd be so much shit between both sides.
I would love that though.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, so with Nintendo, did they? I don't think that they announced that they're going to be at E3 or not, did they?
It said they are. They were supposed to be one of the last ones to go.
Okay, so if Nintendo's going to be there, it's going to be I think gameplay for Diamond and Pearl. They also announced during that same event, the Nintendo Direct, where they announced Diamond and Pearl, they announced an open world Pokemon game.
Okay, but like no one really cares about that. They just want to know what the next slate of the next 10 Mario games are going to be. So you tell me right now what they are.
Mario Golf, and that's actually true. They announced Mario Golf. They just came out with gameplay last week, and it looks really fucking fun. I'm gonna play some Mario Golf.
Could you imagine they do like a crossover with a GTA style Mario, and his Mario leaves jail?
Oh god.
You just see him leave with like a bunch of tattoos. He's
He's got a teardrop.
Oh, man. Yeah, he's got a teardrop right by him. He ends up kicking Luigi off of Yoshi. Just jacks him.
That's how you get your cars. They're all actually Yoshis.
They're all Yoshi, different colored Yoshis. But the hidden one is actually a Bowser, and you can ride him too.
That'd be amazing. So with the Mario games, this last month, they got an update for Mario Party where there's now online capability. This is fucking 4 years after the release of the game. Unannounced, they just dropped this. So my actual hopes are they're gonna have like an expansion for the game, more maps, more playable characters, things like that. I hope.
Okay.
I don't know. I like the Mario Party games, but they're all so limited. Yeah, you play 5 hours worth and you've played the whole game.
You also got to look at their old games. They used to have like lists, and I mean lists of different games, different mini games you could play within them.
Yep.
And now I'm assuming, I remember from the last one I played, they didn't really have that much to offer, but I don't know, maybe it's just me growing up with them.
The most recent one is more true to the old games with how many mini games you get and but the map sizes are small, unfortunately. It's and you only get like 4 or 5 maps, but it wasn't this one, but I think it was the one before it. They kind of strayed away from the normal gameplay of it. Instead of being everyone versus each other, it's all 4 of you versus the Bowser that's chasing after you, and you're working as a team. And I don't like that. I like the competitive aspect that Mario Party gives. Like, that game is supposed to be much like Monopoly, where you want to kill each other after you're done.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that makes sense.
um,
But I don't know. Like I said, it's just they can't really come up with too many new ideas because, like I said, they used to have a ton in those older games, and now they got like this smaller list. So I mean, I don't know, gotta let them do them because they're still gonna come out with another one every so often.
Yeah.
They may or may not run out of ideas.
I'm hoping for Breath of the Wild 2 to have actual gameplay and hopefully a date.
Yeah.
I'm expecting one or the other. Either you're going to give me gameplay or you're going to give me a set date that it's going to come out. They're probably going to announce the last few Smash Bros. Characters. And then a couple new shitty IPs that they always do. But outside of that, I don't know what else Nintendo can do. Nintendo's always a wild card with their games. They have their three main series, and that's kind of about it.
Good old Nintendo.
Yeah.
Look, man, I'm always hyped for E3.
Yeah.
That's just me. I like seeing their trailers. I like what the community thinks is going to happen next after they see that certain trailer, whether it's, oh, you know what? You guys should just show us a little bit of gameplay instead of just showing us the trailer, because how are we going to be super excited over a trailer? But at the same time, it's like, just take it as it is, man. They'll show you the gameplay eventually.
Right.
I enjoy watching it. It's there. There's a lot of community feedback to it, and that's what I like about it.
Right. So straying away a little bit, apparently there's a new crypto called Cummies.
Okay, keep going.
Apparently Elon Musk might be backing it.
Oh yes, Daddy Musk.
So, I think it was yesterday, Anonymous made a video bashing Elon Musk, saying that he's a fraud and all that, which I don't know how you guys feel about Elon Musk. I don't like the guy very much. I think he puts on a face of, I'm the meme guy, and Dogecoin to the moon, shit like that. But then also has actual slave workers in other fucking countries.
Right, I was gonna say there's just something that people should remember is dude's a billionaire. Like, don't put any billionaire on a pedestal, man.
No.
Like, they won't know what you're going through. Like with the whole Dogecoin and Bitcoin situation, he's literally just doing it for his own gain. He's not necessarily doing it to help people out. So I mean, I've never really cared about him. I do see some of the news that involve him, but that's about it. Like, I don't really care too much about him.
So I was listening to, I think it was another podcast where they were discussing the idea that there is no such thing as an ethical billionaire. You cannot be a billionaire and be 100% ethical. You have to step on
Where's the
people.
lie, though?
Right. You have to step on people to get there, which, okay, step on your competition, whatever the fuck.
Well, I mean, look at the amount of power they have. Like, they have to take out someone else that is either at that level of power or a little bit higher power just so they can take that place, So, I mean, it makes sense. Like, there's nothing ethical about it, so they just got to do it their own way and shitty way, per se.
And there's, however so many billionaires in America that control literally all of America. They control the government, like how many bills have not been passed because some billionaire is going to be hurt by it, some fucking gun manufacturer is gonna lose money if Democrats decide to ban certain guns or attachments to those guns. The pharmaceutical industry altogether is suffering. That one of the big things with weed becoming legalized, that is going to hurt a lot of pharmaceutical companies because weed actually helps with a lot of things. I'm not the biggest advocate for weed. I think that you can get addicted to it. It's not an addictive substance, but you gain a for lack of a better term, you gain a need for it. You
Right.
feel like
Well,
you're
that
not
can go
working
with
at
just about
100%.
anything, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, some
Caffeine.
people it might be too addicting for
Right.
them. Like, yeah, caffeine, video games, food. I mean, everyone needs food, but some people, I mean, they'll just take it too far. Like,
Right.
it's something's addicting for someone.
Right.
So,
And weed is no different. So let's say the industries that'll take a hit if weed gets legalized, pharmaceutical in general, right?
Right.
The guys who, I mean, still along the lines of pharmaceutical, like the guys who make melatonin, shit like that. Like weed
Yeah.
makes you sleepy. Certain
It'll-
strands make you sleepy. Certain
yeah.
strands wake you up. Certain strands
yeah.
work as
I
if it's
know-
Adderall.
a friend of ours, I know her mom told me that she would take like half of a small gummy bear edible just because it helps her go to sleep better. So, I mean,
Yep.
it makes sense.
Helps with anxiety,
Mm-hmm. This
So
is true.
big
I know
farm.
it'll take a giant it'll take a giant, I guess, lack of a better word, pounding, I guess, to the DEA, because I mean, for a long time they definitely went out towards weed. I mean, I'm not
Right.
sure how much they're focusing on it now because we have all these other stronger drugs and stuff, but
Well, so another issue that they generally think about weed is they always say it's a fucking gateway drug. Like if you're gonna do weed, then you're gonna look for LSD, and then you're gonna look for meth. I don't exactly believe that. I'm not a scientist, but also to be fully transparent, I don't smoke weed at all. I'm just a big advocate for it being legalized because I think crime rates are going to drop and people's tax money are going to be going towards something they actually want.
100% same on there.
Yeah, that's all fucked up. But fuck Elon Musk. That's kind of like my bit there. He puts on a face that everyone likes because he's the space guy. He's the guy that's us growing up. We all wanted to be astronauts, or we wanted to have Back to the Future fucking happen. With all the technical advances. He's not a good guy. He's not.
Right.
You know.
Let's not take too much of a deep dive on that. We don't really need to talk about other billionaires and stuff like
Other billionaires like us being billionaires.
someday.
Didn't you know we
One of these
are
days.
literal billionaires?
So a billionaire can't get his mic right.
Exactly. Exactly. I need to
man.
pay someone to fix it. All right.
Right.
There we go. Because we got all the money. We just pay people to do it for us.
Exactly.
Who needs to be a fixer-upper when you can pay for one?
Jarvis, please.
Yeah,
new
right.
new mic, please.
I think
well,
I
sorry,
think
go
that'll
ahead.
do. I mean,
Well,
I don't know.
I want to discuss one more thing that's quick because this isn't something that Billy's going to really, be able to input on. But it's something I did want to talk about briefly.
Like all fucking podcasts.
all right, keep going.
Hold on. All right. So we've been talking about video games, right? We've been talking about electronics. You're a fucking programmer. Don't tell me we're talking about stuff that you're not related to. You are a Twitch. You are literally a Twitch streamer. So what are we talking about that you can't input on?
I can't input on anything. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Unless here's the third wheel.
So
Your guys' marriage.
fucking apparently.
Uh,
But Jake Paul versus Tyrone Woodley. It was announced this week. What are your thoughts?
so a little shortly after that, Floyd Mayweather volunteered to help Tyron Woodley train for it, which
he?
is funny because a long time ago, I think it was around the time when he was facing McGregor, Tyron Woodley volunteered to help out Mayweather if he wanted to jump into the octagon. So, it's a nice little eye for an eye type of thing right there. So I would honestly, I would always love to see an MMA fighter beat the shit out of a boxer just because.
I really fucking hope so. So this is the first striker that Jake Paul's gonna actually fight, and I'm excited for that. My problem, and this is the same issue I had with Ben Askren. Tyrone Woodley is on a 4 losing streak. He fell off over the last 3 years, 4 years, whatever it's been. Is he going to take an L for the money?
I hope not.
If
But-
Jake
But
Paul guarantees
it's
him,
also boxing, so
if Jake Paul and the boxing whatever association promises Tyrone Woodley however so many millions of dollars,
dude, if they offer him like fucking 25 mil to take an L, shit, I'll take an L any day for 25 mil.
right? Tyrone doesn't have anything else to lose. Honestly, he's already out of his MMA career essentially. So
Pretty much.
he takes the L there. And also another thing with the Logan Paul fight that's happening tonight. I think boxing is shady altogether.
Right.
What is stopping
Everyone can agree on
Mayweather
that.
from, going to one of his buddies and being like, here is literally $100 million. I want you to bet this money on Jake Paul, and then Mayweather taking an L. The only thing to me,
Logan Paul, yeah.
yeah, the only thing to me that's stopping him is his pride. Dude is 50-0 in his professional career.
Well, this also is an exhibition, so this is the funny part. They announced it. There was a lot of news circling around it the last week or two that it's an exhibition and it does not count towards his record. So you bringing that up is
so he's gonna
funny
take a
because
loss.
ever since I found out about that, I'm like, what if that actually is gonna happen? you just see some sort of list of like how many people bet on which side, and you just see that there's just like at the very bottom of the list, some dude just bet like 100 mil on Logan Paul, and fucking Mayweather just took the L.
Right.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
How much do you want to bet that all of this is going to build up to something 5 years down the line of a giant, like, WrestleMania-sized Logan Paul versus Jake Paul fight?
Oh my God.
They're going to build that up, and it's going to make millions.
Yeah.
Again, I
It's
hate
highly
both of these
possible.
guys.
But right now, the end game, at least in my opinion, the end game it looks like for Jake Paul is that McGregor fight. He wants
Yeah.
those McGregor bucks.
Now, that's so another issue with McGregor is McGregor's also a fucking money guy. I want
He
Jake
definitely does not have the fire that he used to in him.
I want Jake Paul to go against somebody that is not money motivated.
Right.
I think Tyrone Woodley at this point in his career is probably money motivated because he's lost so many fights in a row. You only make
Yeah.
so much off of an L.
Mm-hmm.
So what's stopping him from what I said earlier, taking an L and making 25 mil or whatever, the fuck.
Right.
So, have a recently retired successful UFC fighter, if that's what we have to do, go up against him. Like someone that
Honestly,
doesn't
yeah.
care about the money. Like I would say Khabib, because Khabib would be the type of guy that, wouldn't take money for a loss. But also Khabib's not a striker, so I don't even see that being anywhere near an option. Who knows?
Yeah. It's just for some reason there's a lot of people that want to see it.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Whatever, man. At the end of the day, I'm not spending my money at the fight, so it's whatever, man.
wait, we're not completely legally watching it tonight with Zuko?
No.
No?
Maybe. We
I-
don't know. To be
we
announced.
we are spending our actual money to watch it all separately on Discord later, right?
I
And
don't
just
know what
react
you're
to
talking
it.
about, man. I am actually on my way to Billy's house right now because he invited me over for some tea and crumpets.
Piping
Okay.
hot tea.
All right, this has been the Mere Nonsense Podcast, episode 2. Next week we're gonna fucking make Billy actually talk. We're gonna
Oh,
talk
you-
about Conqueror's Blade or whatever fucking
God, please
boomer
don't.
ass game he wants to play.
Yeah.
Billy, what would you
No
want to
Man's
talk
Sky
about?
lately. No
No
Man's
Okay,
Man's
so
Sky.
you want to talk about No Man's Sky next week? Is that what we're gonna do?
I mean,
That's exactly
we
what
can
we're
talk
gonna
about
do.
whatever. In
Look,
fact, why
you see-
don't we start playing a game together so we can make some memorable moments?
Me and
You
Z
guys
already
play
started
No Man's Sky
Warhammer.
with me. You guys don't invite me.
You were in the Discord with us yesterday, 2 days ago, whatever.
You don't
I
mind
was working.
So,
uh,
all right.
Play while I'm working.
I will see you all next week. Thank you so much.
Bay.
Bye.
Bye.